Notts County Talk, another Thursday, 7:30, and we are live with episode 146 of the Pavis Perspective. This is our final episode before Christmas, because by my calculations, George, we will have had full time now at MK Dons. 7 days, won't we? We'll have had full time at MK Dons, and who knows where we'll be at that point. So it's going to be very, very interesting. This evening, we have Sam on, Bradford fan, who you might have seen if you've watched any of our monthly meetup episodes. Really, really knowledgeable Bradford fan, can give us an insight into that game. And that's going to be later on in the show. We also have a couple of channel regulars who I'll introduce in a second that's going to talk us through what's currently going on at Notts. Are we in turmoil? Are we not? Are people panicking too early? Are they not? And yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting to see what they've got to say. As always, if you are watching back or listening back on Spotify, please drop us that 5-star review. And we are powered by Better Bytes computers. You would have seen right at the start. Use the code Pavis Perspective for money off refurbished computers or computer repairs. Fantastic, not fan-run business. Who have we got with us tonight then? Alex, Harry, Maggie, Nigel saying, I logged on at 9 a.m. this morning and my message has been deleted. Not as Nigel. I think it must stay in a live chat for a certain amount of time. John, Marcus, Lee, Helen, who's a channel member, Paul, Hartley Hare, who says newly converted to Maynard out. The performance against Salford was abject. Jane is here. Gaz, Royston, Ken, Pythagorean, Danny, Ian, Mickey, Milkman Hero, Len, Marcus, Martin is a channel member. Plenty of you joining us this evening. You'll see the link in the description is to buy the last few of our mugs. I believe, George, we're down to maybe 1 home and 2 away. Keep checking that link and they'll be put live if they haven't already gone. So they're good. They're nice, aren't you, George? You've been spending some time this week sending them out, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I have. I think there's only 3 left.
Yeah.
I'm just uploading the last one now, so I'm doing it live. So if you want to go on and get it, go and get it.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. Link should be in the description to the video. So yeah, if you want to get that, check it out. Hopefully an opportunity for Christmas delivery for a couple of those. But we are very grateful how they have gone, and people can represent Notts County Talk when they are watching the show. Send us a picture. Send us a picture of you using your mug if it's arrived, or if you had one of the previous mugs. Let us know. So, George.
Tom.
Salford was poor.
Bad as it gets, isn't it?
I actually think so. There's no excuse in that situation for the no early red cards. The excuse of injuries. Well, we've got seemingly one of our best players back. Do you know what it was bordering on for me? And I'm not saying I'll never think this is like a thing. I don't believe in it, but it was bordering on the point where people start to ask for their money back for an away trip. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On social media. That's the level it was. If you watch my post-match, it's all black and white. It was very negative. Gave everyone a 2 out of 10. If I, took 24 hours to process it, I'd probably still have given a 2. It was absolutely shocking. Absolutely terrible. So we're going to chat about that. We want your questions and thoughts. So we're going to get a couple of channel regulars on that you may have seen throughout the last few seasons. So Jordan, back again. You haven't been on for 2 weeks.
Yeah, not long, has it? Not been long.
No.
Nice to be back.
Too long. It's been too long, hasn't it?
Yeah, a lot's changed in that time.
Yeah, it has. A lot's changed. Yeah, it has. We'll get to that, and we'll also get on. We've got Ben. How are we doing, Ben?
Yeah, all good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. You're in a good mood, though, aren't you? Because your away mug has been. You've had a message said it's been delivered Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it's coming Christmas Eve. I've gone for the away mug. It's going to go with the orange that I've got going on in the kitchen. And also mine, I think, keeps beer really cold.
Oh, there's no... See, we've never tested that because we've just tried the hot drinks, but it's never ending.
That's why I'm here, Tom. That's why I'm here, mate.
Foot painted by George.
Yeah.
Toe
until we,
painting.
until we outsourced them because you got cramped. So, but that's all right. That's all right. At least I think Ben's is the one that's been done by your feet. So that's good. Right, Ben Jordan. Very simple. Are people overreacting, or are we now starting to be in a bit of a panic?
I'll go first. I think the panic's starting to settle in, starting to creep in a bit. I think I look a bit silly after Warsaw's game. The comments that we made there were based on that performance, and I feel like the performance against Walsall wasn't as bad as maybe as some people were making out, especially with what was on the pitch. Thought maybe once we get some players back, we'll be all right. But the team against Salford we put out was more than strong enough to get a result, really. And the performance, just made me look a bit silly, really. I think because I was expecting us to get better as the players came back, and Crowley comes back and we've got worse. So I don't really know what to say on that in terms of where my mind is. I still don't think he'll go yet, and I still think there's some time to turn it around if he learns from Salford. But the panic is starting to creep in a little bit.
Ben, what do you reckon?
I'm full of questions, really, Tom. I mean, I think when your last win was 26th of October in the league, you got to kind of think, well, there's some panic creeping in, or at least like disquiet. I mean, I'm with you. There's no excuses, really. If you look at the team that we put out, fair enough. Like when Platt's out and Abbott's out, and we've had no Danny for a bit. You look at the team that we put out the week before, and you kind of go, well, look, any fan base would kind of, if that was your starting 11, we wouldn't be talking about a promotion push. That's fair enough. But the team that was out against Salford, there's plenty there, but they just look disconnected. I mean, hate to say it, it reminded me of performances in the relegation season. Do
you know what's quite scary? If we don't pick up a win this Saturday, right, then you go into MK, and before a ball's kicked, it's 2 months into league win.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is my point of view. I'll put this point across, but manager been sacked for way less.
Yeah.
Way less than 2 months without a win. And I know November had 3 league games and an FA Cup game against the higher side, but none of those games were good enough either.
No. I think also, like if we get hammered at MK, like if we don't get a result on Saturday and then we go to MK and that goes badly, like we will see how far off we actually are. Do you know what I mean? Because they're flying. They've actually got a run together.
I do think you'll see people start turning then as well. I think there's only so long it can go on for you to keep backing him up. As much as we want him to succeed, obviously it's not County manager. We want him to do well, but as time goes on and the more losses are on the board, really it will become difficult to defend him. I think maybe putting Crowley in, they kind of started playing a different way without Crowley. They started moving it a bit quicker in games, I felt. And it wasn't working with him alongside Palmer before. And it's taken a long time. We don't know if it's still recognised that Palmer and Crowley together in that role doesn't work. You're basically asking a number 10 to play defensive mid in a way. I think the ball against Salford is one of the most dangerous, riskiest passes a keeper can make.
Have you seen the 37-second clip?
Well, I don't mind most of it. It's just the ball in the middle to Crowley, because that ball, Crowley can't see behind him, so he doesn't know what's behind him. So he's coming to collect the ball. He if he's having to look what's behind him, he's having to look left and right behind him at half a millisecond each. And if he loses the ball, there's no one else there. That's it. You're free on goal. So, I think it's one of the most dangerous passes keepers can play in the modern game, and you see it quite a lot. Sometimes it draws the opposition player out, and you can spin him, and then there's a lot of space, and then you go and attack. But it's just ridiculous, really, asking someone who's played number 10 or is an attacking role for all of his career to then be picking a ball up on the floor off the keeper in a centre-back position. I think it's a bit ridiculous, really.
You can't tell me he enjoys playing that way, Dan Crowley.
No.
You can't.
No.
Look at what he did against Grimsby. You can't tell me he's enjoying doing that. And instantly, you bring him back in, and I'm not saying this is Dan Crowley's fault at all. It's the way we're playing. Matty Palmer looked a worse player for that, and that bothers me because he was back to his best.
I think it's because Palmer doesn't tend to hang on to the ball long. He moves into positions quickly, he passes it on quickly, he makes quick decisions. Whereas Crowley in that position, he likes to hold on to the ball, try and make something for himself and try and hold on to it and get past players and kind of trick players into pressing high and things like that. And they play two opposite games, in my opinion. I think that's where we're going wrong in that sense, because Palmer's been amazing since Crowley's been out. Absolutely, everyone was like, he's back to his best, is playing great, is one of our best players, despite the losses and things like that. And as soon as Crowley comes back in, we're back to Palmer not looking himself again. So I think it's clear. Yeah, Crowley comes back. Crowley comes. It's clear, really. I think Stuart Maynard should really see that. And if he continues to play Crowley in that position, then not only are we losing, but it makes him look a bit not inept. But I mean, if everyone else can see the problem and he doesn't change it, and we then go on to continue losing, there's more reasons then to not really like what you're seeing.
Is it Maynard sending Crowley there, or is it Crowley taking it upon himself to go there? That's one of my questions, right? And not to play devil's advocate, but you remember the Barrow game? Like, Barrow started really, really fast and they were rushing us and we wanted to take an extra touch, and like the passing radar was skewed. We just could not pass the ball. We couldn't keep hold of the ball. Maynard made a change on 30 minutes, didn't he? He took Hinchy off and he brought Jev on and he dropped Crowley into the 6. And from that point, we got a foothold in the game and we got a point out of that. And to be honest with you, I thought that was the right move, because Crowley held on to the ball, because he is good at keeping hold of the ball. That's one thing I would say. But I'm with you, Jordan. I think it doesn't get the best out of Palmer. I don't think it gets the best part out of Abbott. And I also, further up the pitch, I think it confuses Didsey. Because he doesn't know whether he's dropping off into that space behind the box, just outside the box, or whether he's pushing on, because that's where Danny should be.
I think there's issues everywhere. I think there's like a lot of people rightly saying in the chat, Crowley wants that ball. He wants the ball. And Dan Crowley's good enough to know there's going to be someone on him, right? So there's a part, you've got a partial blame for there. You've got blame for Alex Bass, because I said in the video on Saturday, if you can see that situation, there's nowhere to go. The last thing you do is pass it there. Just kick it long. And if Maynard's going to give you a bit of grief at half time, say, well, it's better than conceding a goal. Because in hindsight, the game was done after that. The game was done after that 1-0 pretty much. I think there's issues with tactics around Maynard and players playing where inverted wing backs is another discussion we can look at. But I think there's also an issue with the way we want to do things at this club. Is if Maynard goes, we'll get a similar coaching. I don't think we're people say mix it up. I don't even think we're built to go long. I don't think you can go into Jatta because he doesn't hold the ball up. So then what do you do? Because every time we did try to kick it long, the ball came straight back to us. I saw Salford players with 10 yards on the ball with no one challenging. I don't think we're built to play any other way. And when we do play another way, we get dominated because, you're putting it up to Jatta, who can't on his own hold the ball up. I think we've penned ourselves in a bit.
Yeah, I do think throughout the season, and I still believe this really, that Maynard doesn't know his two best 10s and who to play there and who to play in the other central midfield roles. I don't think he is sure on who's best in what position in the central midfield area, in that central area. It's changed so many times, and I know injuries have probably pushed that. But I think sometimes, like you said, when Crowley has a good game against Barrow, he probably thinks, oh, that's Crowley, that's where Crowley should be. But it's not suited for every opposition, really, I don't think. And also, why is Palmer not collecting the ball and Crowley a bit further up? Yeah, there's a lot going on there in that central area of the pitch, and that dictates a lot of the game and it dictates a lot of the play. So once you get that right and once that clicks, everything else looks 100% better. But yeah, it's difficult really because I don't know the answers. But I mean, as a football manager, you should expect Maynard to really have the answers.
Exactly. I think for me that there's so many problems that are just sort of brought together, and I think a lot of it's down to attitude. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when Williams was in, you felt like the players were playing for Williams, didn't you? And you felt like there was that air of respect. I just feel like Maynard doesn't really have that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they thought he was a genius, didn't they, at times?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Well, I just feel like there was that air of like ruthlessness about Williams, wasn't there?
Did you see his post match for Swansea?
Yeah, I did see
you were
that
there?
recently.
No, I didn't.
He calls out the whole Swansea team.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Maynard would not do that. No.
Yeah, but
And I think
he's
that's
on
probably
thin ice, isn't he? I think in my opinion, last season was abysmal, wasn't it? Under Maynard, it was difficult for him. You know, the team was only really going in one direction. We've completely changed the team. It's different now. But you sort of felt like this season he really had to hit the ground running. And don't get me wrong, we started really well, but now it's like this is where you earn your coin, isn't it? As a manager, when your backs are against the wall a little bit, how do you get out of it? How do you motivate your players? I feel like every time, look, I know we've got injuries, but every time the squad comes out, it's like you're half guessing half the squad. At this point of the season, for a team that are pushing for promotion, it shouldn't really be like that, I don't think. I think you should sort of have a good air of who's playing where, preferably as well the wing backs. The wing backs, the way we play is so important. And from game to game, we don't know who's playing there. I just think it should be settled now. Look, I know we've got injuries. I know Jody's out, but we should have players that are strong enough to play there.
George, we start with, to back you up, we started with the central midfielder at wing back on Saturday. The player that's supposed to be the wing back wasn't even on the bench, and the player that was covering the central midfield is a youth player that's played one game. That's madness.
It is madness.
It is. It's crazy. It just feels a bit all over the place, doesn't it? It feels disorganized.
Yeah, it does.
But it just feels like a few tweaks here and there could really, really get the team going. But for me, it just seems like, I don't know, a bit of lack of motivation, maybe. I'm not sure. It's hard to say. I think because there seems to be this like big, because we've got a head coach now and things like that. I feel like the pressure is massively taken off sort of that manager role, isn't it? It's the same role essentially, isn't it? But you're a head coach. You're not in control of as many things, so you can't really be held responsible for too much things. I know they have their say in recruitment and things like that, but
the owners are probably thinking, well, if we make a change, what actually changes on the pitch? If we've got injuries and things like that, if we're playing the style that we want to play, what will actually change if we change the manager? That's maybe why he's had more time than people would normally expect in a different club, in a different situation.
It'll cost them a fortune as well. It'll cost them a fortune. It's a long contract. There's an entire team. We're aiming for sustainability. There's just no way. But one of my questions is, where has that fight gone, George? Because earlier in the season, we're scoring late goals. Okay, a couple of those are pens, but we're scoring late goals and we're salvaging points or picking up wins. Well, picking up a win. So where has that fight gone? That's because Tom, you're absolutely bang on. The first goal goes in against Salford, and you go, "That's the game done." Now I go back 6 weeks. I don't think the game is done. Yeah, because I think we keep fighting. So where's that gone?
I think heads could have potentially have dropped from injuries. To be honest, I think obviously you see, like Jody's the obvious one, isn't he? He's absolutely class. And most of our goals when he was in the team were sort of coming from him. And if they weren't coming from him, they were coming from a gap being made because two players are marking him. So I think he's obviously a very, very important player in the way that we do things. So I think heads could have dropped because of that. I feel like there's so much chopping and changing, like I've sort of just alluded to. Players are sort of struggling to have that like consistency, really. And I think a lot is expected, really, of the players with the way that we play. So we need that consistency. The players need that consistency. So I think that's where it lies.
Yeah. The more you lose as well, the more confidence drops. And like when you're starting a game, you think if you've lost the last, or you haven't had a win in so long, you probably start thinking, well, actually maybe we're not good enough to win this game. And before you even kicked a ball, you're doubting whether you're going to be able to win or not. And I think before we went on this really bad run, like you said earlier in the season, there was that hope, there was that belief, there was that confidence in the team that no matter who we came up against, we could beat. And I think that belief has kind of drifted away as time's gone on.
I travelled up to Salford on Saturday morning, and for 55 minutes on, I watched a training session. That's all I watched because the game was done. We never looked good. The fact he's thrown Josh Martin on told me the game was. He thought he knew the game was done because he doesn't fancy him. He doesn't fancy Josh Martin. It's obvious. So he just put players on to keep players fresh. There's a good point here from Chris, and it's true. We don't have to play wing backs. We talk about every week on the channel, but we don't have to, because if we don't have anyone in right wing back position until Jody's here, right, then just stick to back four. Put Macari as right back because he's definitely a capable right back. And when
Jody Cerula left back or Badu left back, then you've got Platt in the middle. Like that back four would be really good if you had a back four.
Oh no, it would. And then when Jody comes back, you say, "Well, what about when Jody comes back?" Well, one of the best games I've seen Jody play in a not shirt was Newport away when he wasn't doing any defending. So I think I don't know if we could change formation. I'm not saying I'm not a tactical genius, but also I know what people are saying, but I don't think we can pin it all on Jody coming back. And it's a lot of pressure to put on one player. And if he does come back and we're still like this, then what? Then I don't know. People saying bring Chickson back. Not a bad shout. Then Cerula can go right. Well,
I don't think that is a bad shout. I genuinely don't think that is a bad shout. A hard-working player, that is.
He didn't go with Ardley, did he? But I don't think he necessarily struck it with Ardley when now Ardley's their manager. Woking. But I mean, look what we're talking about. We're talking about coming up to festive period, get Chickson back to help our season, who's gone out on loan. If I'd have said that 2 months ago, you'd have been like, "What's going on?" We're pretty positive on this channel, but I don't think right now for episode 146, where we are right now, I don't see where there is really a positive spin on it, because to narrow it down in its simplest form, we bought what a lot of people would say is our second best player back in the team, and we were miles worse. After a rest, we were miles worse. Not just worse, we were so bad. It was unbelievable. A few people are saying here about the dressing room. I don't know. I don't think he's lost the dressing room yet. I don't think. But my take on any situation, and I don't care who the manager is, if anyone loses the dressing room, I think they have to go instantly. If my dad was manager and he lost the dressing room, I'd be taking a sign to say my dad needs to be sacked. Like, nobody that's lost the dressing room should be in charge for a game. Simple as that, because they're not going to play for you and your season's in tatters. There's a question I want to bring up. So before I say this, right now, if I go around, right now, I'm still Maynard in. Just George?
I'm as close as it can be, I think.
To being out.
Without
not being out. Jordan?
Yeah. In my head, I've come up with a timeline. I think he has 3 weeks to turn it around.
No, he skipped
Otherwise,
ahead.
he's gone.
He skipped ahead. I wanted an answer. In or out?
Well, 3 weeks to turn around, and he's gone. Yeah, I think he should go.
How long is his contract?
12 years.
Is it 4 years?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a long time.
I think it's a 4-year contract, and I think he's not, and I don't think he's done a year yet.
I think a 4-year contract's risky no matter who you get in.
Oh yeah.
Really, that's a bit what's the word I'm looking for? That's a bit reckless in my opinion.
That's what I mean. It'll cost him a fortune. They'd have to buy him out 3 years of contract, and Matty and the rest of the backroom staff, because he brought everybody. I'm still in because I'm a bit more patient.
That's head in my hands moment.
Yeah, technically, I'm with Ben. I'm still in at the moment, but
so go on, Ben. Sorry, and then I'll reveal the question I was going to ask.
Yeah, I'm still in because he deserves a chance to see if he can fix it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Jordan, you're excluded from this question now because you just went ahead.
Well, I agree with Ben. In now, within 3 weeks, if he doesn't turn around, then out.
Still going. No, but this is the question that someone asked, that Ian asked. How long did you give him before before decisions made. You've kind of said 3 weeks there, Jordan. I think he's got 3 games. Personally, if we're winless in the next 3, no way is he staying. Maybe New Year's Day, because what's the point? But I can't see.
We got MK and Walsall again in those 3 games.
Oh yeah. We've got
I agree with Ben though. If it's a 4-year deal, there's no way.
What? So
you go to every fan forum. How much emphasis? And I agree with it. How much emphasis is put on sustainability?
No, I agree. But what if we lose the next 3?
I think he'll still be here.
No,
He will be.
Not if we lose the next 3.
I think he will be.
Jordan?
Well, 3 weeks. What's that? The next 5 games?
3 weeks. Festive period. You played 40 games in 3 weeks over Christmas.
No, ours isn't actually as bad. I looked at Walsall. Walsall have played 8 games from the start of January till like New Year, where we will have only played 5, I think, over the.
Only 5 games in 3 weeks. See,
compared to a lot of other teams, it's not as much, but
we'll be 18th by then. But no, so do you think if we lost the next 3, he'd still be in charge? Come on.
Depends. It depends how we lose them.
Like conceding like more goals than we score.
If the performances are there and we just aren't, if it's a close game, and then I feel like they probably think, well, the performances are there, still performing well. He probably holds on to his job. If we get absolutely turned over and the team look like they're not playing for him anymore, then I can't see any other option than to just get rid.
Jason says we could lose the next 5 and he will still be in charge.
You've got to remember, they stayed patient for 4 years in the National League, the brothers. Yeah. They did not play it. He won't go. He won't go.
The thing is as well, we'll never know how patient they are. I don't think. This is the true test. If it gets really, really bad, this will be the true test. Because they've never, other than Ardley, who wasn't their appointment, they've never sacked their own appointment.
No. You say sustainability, but what if the numbers start falling game-wise?
Jordan, that will be the thing. That will be the thing. Because the other thing to remember is Joe Palmer saying our budget is about 10th or 11th highest. So on budget standings, we're about where we should be. And then it's a question of, can you coach that team to be better than your budget position? And that's what he's got to do. That's what I mean about I need to wait and see whether he is capable of taking the team higher than that. But I think that's why they'll be patient, you see.
Yeah. Jordan and Ben, it's fine if you need to get going, but I'm going to get someone who's a Bradford fan, because I've arranged 8 o'clock. If you two are free to stay for a chat after, I want to carry this on a little bit. Jordan, I know your bedtime's sort of 8:15.
I do need to shoot off, if that's all right.
That's fine, Jordan. It's been an absolute.
Right.
I'm around.
We've got to stay.
Cheers,
Ben can hold the fort for me. It's all right.
No, but Jordan, appreciate you coming on, and we'll get your thoughts on Saturday at the game on the It's All Black and White episode anyway. So
I'm looking forward to apparently a DJ in the nest. Was it? They said that, didn't they, at the fans forum? Maybe they've cancelled it because the record not doing too well.
Did they not ask you to do it, Jordan?
Vibe's gone.
I know they should have got me in, really. But
should have. Right,
if it's Matt Guy, we might be all happy.
Yeah, so. There we go. George, cheers, appreciate it, and Ben, we'll get you back on in sort of 10 minutes or so. Cheers, mate. Yeah. Right, we're gonna get Ben back on shortly. Jordan's had his say. Always good to have him on. Hartley Hare says, Ben, you talk sense. So
I'd be interested to know why people think Jordan's got to shoot off.
Yeah, where's he off? Callum says he's got Coco and bed. So. Right, Let's talk Bradford, because we've had a really, really positive, uplifting episode so far. We've been talking about how long the manager's got left. Been talking about losing 3-0 to Salford. Now let's talk about Bradford. So, yes, let's talk Bradford. Sam, how are we doing, mate?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, good, thanks. Sam, you might have caught the end of that. It's not very positive on here. So, can you be positive from a Bradford point of view? Because, you're unbeaten in, 4 in the league?
Yeah, some of them results have been good. Some of them have been not so good. Like, obviously, you're never going to complain at a win, but the performance against Swindon wasn't amazing. Beating Stockport away in the EFL Trophy was a good result. I know both teams made a lot of changes, but to still go there and win the game, score 3 goals, I was pretty positive signs. Even the point away at Crewe, with 10 men, no Andy Cook in that game, I thought that was a really good point. And again, we probably deserved to win and definitely would have won with 10 men. But then you look before that, a draw at home to Barrow, that was a terrible performance. And it's normally around these sort of months, around November, December, where even the last 5 or 6 seasons, whenever we've been in League Two, that's where our form really dips. And then it's a bit of a debate about do you stick or twist with the manager, but I think we're now hitting form at a good time, and obviously we're coming into playing against a Notts side who are out of form at the moment, which I guess is only beneficial for us.
Oh, painfully out of form. I saw you tweet the other day asking if Jodie's back. There's not a chance Jodie's back, so that benefits you. We're only separated by goal difference. We are not, as Notts fans, we're not really happy with how the season's going right now. How are you feeling about Bradford's season? You say you're slowly starting to turn it around a bit. 3 points off the playoffs isn't the end of the world, and 6 points off third place. Are you happy so far?
Given the context of the amount of injuries that we've had to deal with, it hasn't been a bad season. You look at it normally and you think around mid-table is not amazing at this point in the season, but we had a really good start, and then so many injuries hit. We were having to play so many players out of positions, having to change formation, going away from the back three, which is all we'd really known for the last year or so. So it was frustrating at that point, and we had it around a month or two where we're having to play a 4-4-2, and we've not got a single winger in the squad, and we went on a really bad run. But we recently started to get players back from injury, like Aidan Baldwin, Anthony Sartovic, Alex Patterson, and our results have slowly started to turn around again, which I think is positive. I think we definitely need to get a striker or two in January if we really want to compete for the top 3. But I think even with the squad that we've got at the moment, I think we should still make the top 7, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope, like you want to be in that top 7. I'd hope we're in that top 7, but things are just a bit questionable at the minute. You've described on your channel the Aidan Baldwin versus Matty Platt derby. And Adam's put a comment in here. Warm welcome for Baldwin for sure, but I hope he has a stinker. Big spell out for you, wasn't it, for Baldwin? He had quite a long time out. How is he? Have you seen any mistakes?
The only real performance less than a 7 out of 10 that I saw was the first half against Swindon, where he just put a few passes in the stand, but that's been about it. The first couple of matches I thought he was excellent. Obviously then I think it was originally a hamstring injury, then when he was coming back he got another injury, so that's why he was out for so long. But even since he's come back in, he's almost come straight back into the side, and we've got I think 8 centre-halves who can play there, so the fact that he's come straight back in and kept his place shows how good that he has been for us. My expectations when we signed him, looking at the reviews from Notts County fans, when I saw Matty Platt went the other way, I was a little bit concerned, but from what I've seen of him in a Bradford City shirt, I think he's been a pretty solid signing so far.
What do you make of that, George? You obviously saw a whole season of Baldwin. Does that worry you more on our play style? Because now that what we saw from Baldwin is starting to creep into our season this year as well.
Yeah, of course it worries you. Yeah, because he was that last season he had so many errors in him, didn't he? So many errors. So to hear that he's putting in 7 out of 10s week in week out is it's a bit of a surprise. But yeah, like you say, it could be the style of play. Too much pressure on the centre halves, couldn't it? So
I feel like we either saw, from a Notts perspective, I think we either saw a 9 out of 10 Aidan Baldwin or a 2 out of 10, and there was no in between. Like you'll have seen the highlights from Shrewsbury in the FA Cup last year. I mean, he did one of those, not 3 in a game. I mean, I don't know what I saw there. He did one of those, maybe, what would you say, George? A mistake like that every 4 or 5 games, and then go and be absolutely incredible. So from our perspective, love Matty Platt. Feel like Aidan Baldwin is slightly better on the ball than Matty Platt, but Matty Platt holds, the big strikers up really well. Reads the game, but he's not very fast, is he, Matty Platt? But he reads the game well enough to sort of have that. He's got Jacob Bedu next to him. Jason says Baldwin is class when he's not having to make 5,000 passes a game. Yes, agree. What's your play style like then? That over at Bradford?
I think you would definitely describe it more long ball, but we do play out at times depending on who our back 3 is, because when we play with Neil Byrne in the middle, he's very good at the diagonal passes, whereas now we're playing Paul Huntington, who I think is a better defender, but he hasn't quite got that long range distribution in him. So if we are going to play out, it does go through Aidan Baldwin when he plays, or Jack Shepherd on the other side. So it depends really who plays in the back 3 onto our style, and also the press of the opposition. If the opposition are going to apply that high press, then we won't even consider it, and we'll just who fits 60 yards up the pitch. But if it's on to play, it will probably go through Baldwin, because I think he's a proper ball-playing centre-back. We've had a few centre-halves who have been a bit better on the ball than your average League Two defender, the likes of Romney Critchlow, Jonathan Tompkinson over the last couple of seasons. But now I feel like we've got a proper ball-playing defender in Aidan Baldwin. Like, you could comfortably play him in central midfield and he wouldn't really look out of place. So, yeah, I would definitely describe our style of play as a bit more direct. It's definitely get the ball down the line, get crosses into the box. But, yeah, we definitely don't play 1,000 passes a game.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we had like 85% possession. I think Matty Platt against Cook will be a very good battle. They should know each other fairly well. You've got a difficult festive period, haven't you? You come to Notts, then you've got Port Vale, and then you've got Chesterfield, 2 home games. We've got 2 away games. Out of those, how many points would you be happy with? 3, well, not so difficult at the minute, but Port Vale and Chesterfield, really tough.
I think 6 points I'd be happy with. Any more than that would probably be a bonus. But I'm actually glad that we're playing the better sides, because they're the teams that we normally do better against, whether we've had all the different managers and different players, even over the last couple of seasons in League Two, because they're going to come and actually give us a game. They're not going to put every man behind the ball and then we have to try and break them down. So I think it will make for entertaining matches. Obviously, this fixture last season, we were dead and buried by half time, but both sides have got a lot of changes in their team, especially us now. And yeah, I'm feeling a bit more confident with the last couple of results. I would feel more confident if Alex Patterson was available for this game and Port Vale on Boxing Day. But yeah, I think 6 points I'll definitely take.
Were you at Meadow Lane last season in that game?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Televised, 4-0 at half time, I think. Was there a point, because from a Notts perspective, this is how our season went last year, when you got it to 4-2, I think, I genuinely thought you were coming back for a draw. And I remember George sat next to me thinking, we're going to throw this away.
Yeah.
It was...
Yeah, because, you made quite a lot of subs, didn't you? Like, you brought, like, Dan Gosling and stuff onto the pitch, and I think you just lost your tempo. And I think we had Ash Taylor playing the first half, who was one of the worst centre-halves that's ever played for this football club. I think he was subbed off at half-time, and we looked much more comfortable then. I think Andy Cook had 12 shots in that game. He just had one of his bad days, and he doesn't really have many. So if he has something, even if he has half of that, you'd expect him to get a couple. I know that your defence is obviously a lot stronger this season. I think Platt does better against the more physical strikers. I think sometimes it can be the more nippy strikers that he struggles against, or certainly was when he was playing for us. But yeah, hopefully we can maybe have a similar sort of scoreline, but the other way around this time.
Yeah. Hopefully not for us. 2 questions left then. First one I ask every away fan or opposition fan. One player in Bradford's side that we might not be aware of that you think we should watch out for?
I mean, I guess it really depends who we're going to play. The obvious one's Andy Cook, really. You know, he's our only real goal threat. But I'll probably say Callum Kavanagh in the last couple of matches. Obviously scored a couple of goals, but his overall performances haven't been amazing. But I guess if someone's going to kind of go under the radar a bit because of how many goals Andy Cook does score, it probably would be him. I would also then maybe say Bobby Poynton. I think he was subbed off at half-time in this fixture last season, but this is his second full year in senior football, and he's really developing. He looks like a senior player now, and he's got a lot of quality on the ball. He's not the quickest, but technical ability, I think, is right up there in League Two. So I'd say recent form, Callum Kavanagh, but based on kind of whole time at Bradford City, I would definitely say Bobby Poynton.
We'll keep an eye out. And final question is, what is your score prediction for this game?
I think there'll be goals. I think that in 74% of our games this season, both teams have scored. We haven't kept many clean sheets, but we've also scored a decent amount of goals. But if you manage to stop Andy Cook, which I think Platt, B-Dub, they could be able to do so, then I think we might struggle. I said 2-2. I think a point wouldn't be the end of the world as long as there's goals in there. Everyone wants to see goals, so I'll go with a Desmond 2-2.
2-2, fair enough. Will you have a video out after the game?
Yeah, all being well, yeah.
Yeah, so always good to see an opposition fan's account of the game. Hopefully we get to see a victory for Notts. But no, appreciate you coming on, mate. Thank you very much. And if you're travelling to Nottingham on Saturday, safe travels.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for coming on. Speak again soon.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. 2-2. Would you take a 2-2? I don't know. I don't think I want to.
We need a win. We need a win.
We can't go 2 months without victory in the league.
Yeah.
Couple of things then. Someone did get our player anagram of Chattier Tim. Did you get it, George?
No, I'm terrible at these.
I'll reveal it. It was Matt Ritchie.
Yeah.
Do you remember Matt Ritchie? Or not? And have you got our poll question to hand?
Have I got the poll question to hand? No, I haven't.
Come on, mate.
It's not on my live chat for some reason.
Do you want to know why? Poll question.
Because you've not put it up.
There's no poll question today, so that's why. Poll question today is: Did you get your mug? Not counted to mug. And you can answer that yourself. Still some available, George, or are we gone?
Let's have a look. Live and direct. I'm looking right now.
Been painting one this episode, haven't you?
Yeah, literally just finished doing it. No, they're still live.
Ooh,
last
chance. Two left. Last opportunity if you want to get a Not Counted to mug. Right, let's get Ben back in because I was very much enjoying that the conversation. Unfortunately, Jordan has had to leave us again. Get in the chat where Jordan's gone. We'll ask him when we see him on Saturday. Ben, you sat there and you listened to Sam talk about Bradford. They don't seem as, I don't know what the word is, riled up as us Notts fans.
No.
And they're above us on goal difference. They're a big club, really big club. So surely, they want to be pushing up there. Do you think there's an overreaction from our fan base, or do you genuinely think there isn't?
I think maybe, yeah. I think maybe. It's a long time since we were in League One, man. It's a long time, and I know that's sort of, I feel like that's where Notts should be, and that's like the natural home. But there are other big clubs. It's that kind of, yeah, we're a big club, but so are Chesterfield, so are Bradford City, so are Port Vale. The MK were in that League One for a long time. So there's other big clubs in there. I think maybe we are, because there's a long way to go. I'm like you, Tom. I don't want to put too much pressure on Jody. One player can't turn around a season. It's not possible. It's got to be elsewhere. But I do think we've got some problems, and so I understand it. But I think there is a bit of an overreaction in that there's still a lot of games to go. I tell you what, just listening to that, like my kind of, I was shaking my head at 2-2. We're not scoring goals, mate. And I want to talk about the strikers as well, because I think that they have to take a bit of responsibility, because Didza scored 7 goals, right? 2 pens, 2 worldies in one game. You take those out, he scored 3 goals. We love Didzy, of course, and he's been fantastic. But that's 3 goals other than those. I know that's a bit crazy, taking 4 goals out. But there are 2 35-yarders into the top corner, which is not something, unless you're Bukayo Saka, that you can do every week. And 2 penalties. And AJ, even though we love him, there's not much on the bluey about, having Jata as a cheat code for a little while. He's almost fallen off a cliff since the call up, and we don't score from midfield. We're not scoring goals from midfield.
George, you did message me, didn't you, after the game about our striker situation on Saturday?
Yeah, I did. I think
in regards to Jata. Yeah.
We're miles away, aren't we, from scoring goals, from where we used to be. We're absolutely miles away from it.
Yep. I think I agree with your player ratings, right, for the Salford. I thought that was bang on, because nobody put their head above the parapet. Nobody actually rose above like one level. The only player I would say that maybe could have got a 4 was Nicky Cerula. Now, I like Nicky Cerula. I want him to succeed, but at least he tries stuff. I just feel like that guy needs a goal. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the one place where inverted wing backs does work. He is good at cutting inside, and if he could just curl one in, then I think that might kickstart him. But we ain't scoring from the other side. Keds hasn't got a league goal. I don't know. Matty Palmer only picks up 2 or 3 a season. He's brilliant at all sorts of other things. But where are the? Danny had, by this stage last season, he'd got 8 goals maybe, all from open play.
Mm.
So those numbers are just going like that. So 2-2 is like, okay, great. I don't know who's going to get them, but that's more worrying.
It's concerning, isn't it? Because the defence that was so brilliant has now conceded 3 to Salford, then 3 to Walsall, then 4 to Peterborough. We had scored 2. If we're going league games, we've scored 2 goals 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals in the last 6, 2 goals in the last 4, and they both came in one game. And in that game, we didn't even pick up a point.
That's it.
So, I mean, I don't know really. We're struggling a bit now. We are struggling a little bit. We've gone from being the second best defense in the league all of a sudden to something like the joint 8th.
Yep.
I don't know. I think it's absolute. A win is so important, because if we don't win and then we go to MK on Boxing Day, wow. One thing I will say though, I'm not a massive fan. I'm not a fan at all. I won't say I'm not a massive fan. I think people have to separate the manager of Notts County from the person. Like, if that makes sense. Yeah. I don't like abuse towards someone for trying to do their job. Like, I don't rate that. I don't like tagging people. I don't like people tagging family. Yeah. He's a football manager, but that you might not think is doing well, but he's also doesn't make him a bad person. Do you know what I mean? I don't rate that at all. Just the same as if you've got a player trying their best. I'm not saying a situation where players throwing the toys out of prime. You've got a player trying their best, but they're simply not good enough. Doesn't make them a bad person. So, yeah, I don't like to see that. I thought I just wanted to kind of say that, because on here, I'm never going to slate him. I'll slate how things are going with him in charge, but not actually. I would never slate a person on here. Do you know what I mean? I think that needs to be separate.
He's a thoroughly good bloke, and he is doing his very, very utmost. Do you know what I mean? And okay, like, his press conferences are not the most inspiring. Like, I don't care about that. Some people are good on camera, some people aren't. Do you know what I mean? I only care about the things that sadly we don't see, which is what happens on the training pitch. Like how's the team being set up, and how do we, like I said earlier, how is he going to solve the problem? That's the only way that, like, as a head coach, he can be judged, because he's a really good bloke. There's no question about that.
Yeah. But I did say a few weeks ago, like, when Jordan came on 2 weeks ago, we were all sat there saying, look, we want Maynard in, and people saying to us, like, or a couple of comments saying, well, why are you blindly following? And we did mention on that if things get bad, we'll call it out. We didn't feel at that point they were, but clearly things are starting now. If we don't win on Saturday, we're not back on until after the MK game. So if we don't win, we could come in with 6 points. I don't think we will. We could come back on with 2 losses. Then the pressure's massively on, because then you've got to go away to Cheltenham. Yeah. Danny, I did chat to at Salford. Said if you put a message in, I'll give you a shout out. So Danny's saying he's watching with his daughter. Shout out to Danny. Chatted you for a good 10-15 minutes at Salford. Really, really great to chat to you as well. Who actually asked me he wanted a couple of 8 out of 10s post-match. I did chat to him before kickoff, and he said, I want a few 8s. No.
Sadly not.
I get a couple of 2s. Yeah. Any more thoughts, George, on this situation at the minute, or do we just now go into Saturday and just do everything we can to pick up a victory?
Yeah, pretty much. I think as difficult things are at the moment, as fans, I feel like we've got to try and pull the players out of maybe that low confidence mode that they're in at the minute. So we've just got to get behind them, haven't we? And I know generally we do, but it can fall toxic, can't it, at any football club? But when there's sort of, the big gates we're getting now, it can feel a lot worse, can't it? So I think we just need to get behind the players and the staff without sounding sort of cliche, which we do like on this channel. And I just don't want there to be any, like, blindingly obvious errors in there that you feel like can be fixed. Like substitutions and things like that. That has happened a few times this season. I think it's important that Maynard gets it, like, right. And yeah, it doesn't make any stinkers really.
No.
And again, I'd like to see Jata step up, because like Ben said, the strikers they're slacking, aren't they? Really, we're not scoring as many goals, and I think if I didn't say it, I was definitely saying it to you guys, not like off the channel. I think Jata was flattered really by his early score record. You
have said that, to be fair.
I wasn't really. I'm just not convinced. I'm really not convinced by him. I think he scored some good goals and he's had some good moments. But I think as a player in the whole, the way that we play, his contribution is quite minimal, isn't it? When you think about it.
There's a guy I teach who's like, he's a Burton fan, and he really, really knows his stuff. I don't know where he pulled this stat from, but this is a couple of weeks ago. He said, you do know that Jatta has missed the most big chances in the EFL. I don't know where that came from.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Which was like, really?
Not making me feel any better.
Let's play with 2 10s. Let's play with 2 10s.
Do you know what, though? I would be interested to see how that marries up with Langstaff last season as well.
Yeah, I know.
Last season. Because like he scored a lot of goals, but he missed some absolute status as well, didn't he?
But the thing with Maka was he was brilliant at missing chances because it just didn't bother him at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He didn't let it affect his game, did he?
No, never.
Yeah.
I kind of think, so like what can change? I feel as though we were more successful. I know everybody was calling for like Dids and Jatta to play together, but I wonder whether we go back to 2 10s and try and play a little bit more through the middle.
I'm just having a look. Sorry, I can't get the actual missed chances, but I can get he's scored 7 goals this season and has had 41 shots. So what's that? He's converting nearly one in 6.
Yeah, 6.
And some games I don't think he gets that many opportunities. His expected goals is 7.35.
And what's he on?
7.
So he's scoring what he's.
But if
you should be outperforming your XG.
But some of them are headers, aren't they? Some of them are headers that will be low XG. Like there have been some good goals in there.
You have to outscore your XG to be like when you're a striker. Yeah. I bet Langstaff's XG for last season was way lower than the goals that he scored.
Well, I think Didzy's XG is similar, and he's got 2 pens in there. And I think a pen is 0.7, isn't it?
It's like huge. Yeah, it's huge. Didzy expected goals 6.3, goals 7, but penalties in there.
Yeah,
it changes it a lot. I think we need to find goal scorers that aren't the strikers as well, though, George.
Yeah.
Like Ben was saying, let's get a couple of wing backs involved because Aaron Neman, I'm not going to go on about him because he'll have a blinder on Boxing Day, but Aaron Neman scored a few goals, didn't he, for us? I've got to say that. We need goals from the wing backs. I just keep thinking back to that Nick Cerullo post against Gillingham, where that goes in. I'm telling you, we win the game like 2-3-0.
100%.
I feel like I go back to every video as well, but you've alluded to it there. I just feel like if that goal goes in, we'd be in such a better position now as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Confidence would have been so high.
Yeah. That and Newport, they're the two that really hurt me. Because Newport, God knows how many chances.
Yeah.
And we don't score. And Nicky Cerullo somehow hits the post with the whole goal.
James said on SofaScore, it says he's missed 13 big chances. That's a lot. I feel like the word that strikes me with him is inconsistent.
Yeah.
But I know I feel like it's really easy to compare strikers to strikers that are unknown. So like if I'm start talking about a League One obscure striker, it's not going to be as well received. But in a kind of way, I'm not saying they're anywhere near that level. If Haaland doesn't score, he doesn't affect the game for City. If Jatta's not scoring, I don't think he necessarily affects the game. I don't see him winning a lot of long balls. I see him holding it up, but his touch is not that good.
Awful.
But it's inconsistent as well.
So, but I agree. We've got to help him. You can't just lump a ball up long to him when we clearly don't play that way. I don't really know what the answer is, but would you, before we let you go, Ben, would you like to see a tactical switch of some sort on Saturday, or would you be quite happy going in, playing the way we played against Newport at home? Because as we've said, eventually we would have scored. But what do you think?
Well, I think we're set up like personnel wise for possession based football, so that is the way it'll go. So I think we'll continue to do that. I think the switch that I'd like to see which is a bit mad saying like our strikers aren't scoring to suggest pulling one of them out. But I actually think we were more successful with 2 10s behind Jatta. And that, like when Conor Grant was in there before he got injured. Now Conor Grant's an interesting one because he's actually got better by not playing, because he could drift out of games, but because he's been out for an awfully long time, it's like, man, we need him back. Don't know. He's one of those that's got better by not playing. And I don't know whether it's Sammy Austin and Crowley, but I just feel as though that would push Crowley into that position and make him be there. He can still control an awful lot, but I'd like 2 10s. I'd like to see that anyway, because I just feel like with the way we're playing at the moment, if we're not scoring from across, we ain't going to score.
Yeah. Right, Ben. This has been a longer episode than we normally do, but it's been an amazing chat to you. Great chat to Jordan, who was on earlier, and Sam representing Bradford. So, Ben, we'll have you on again at some point. Hopefully catch you at a game as well. Get you on the channel.
Yeah, I'll be at MK. That's my next. I'll be at MK.
I'll see you at MK on Boxing Day. So have a good Christmas, Ben.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Have a good Christmas.
Cheers.
Enjoy the mug.
Yeah, can't wait. Excited about that.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. See you in a minute.
Cheers.
Right, we need to go for our lineup then. I'm going to go with what I want to see this time, not what I think we'll see. What I really want to see. So we haven't even mentioned really Alex Bass that much, have we?
I was going to say that there, but just before Ben came off, we're talking a lot about Jatta, but Bass.
3 games on the run for me.
Hasn't it?
Yeah, quite badly. Quite badly. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We could be sat here on Boxing Day, 4 points maybe. I can't see any way we get 6. Happy to be proven wrong. I can't see any way we come away with 6 points. But anyway, lineup. Should we go for the lineup we want to see? Are you going to keep the same formation or are you going to switch it?
Probably keep it.
Okay, let's go. So the only option is Bass in goal. And a great goalkeeper so far this season, but last 2 games have been a bit iffy. Bedu, Platt and Macquarie still. I might even be tempted the way things are going. No. Yeah, Bedu, Platt and Macquarie.
Okay.
I'm going to Cerullo on the left, and I'm going to put Gordon on the right. I want to see a wing back play at wing back. That's as simple as it is.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Sorry, I do agree with you. But for me, some of the body language and performances we've seen from him, Gordon, I'm talking about, it's not been there, has it? I feel like I've been very negative this episode, but
yeah, we're not usually. We're usually trying a positive spin on everything.
It's difficult, isn't it? I think you're probably right. It goes sort of against something in me, but I think you're right.
If there's an attitude issue, and I'm not for 1 minute saying there is. If there was an attitude issue with any player, then don't play them.
Yeah.
That goes with anyone. And literally any player on the team. If they've got an attitude issue, then I wouldn't play them because that just breeds sort of a bad sets bad precedent around the team, right? So I'm going to say I just want to see 2 wing backs and I want to see them playing on their natural side. Okay? Central midfielders, I'm going Abbott and Palmer. I'm then going to say, please keep Dan Crowley as far away from that back line as possible at home. He doesn't need to be collecting the ball at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do you do? Because, like it was mentioned earlier, Ben or Jordan, I can't remember, said that Didzy looks confused. Would you be tempted to play Dan Crowley behind Jatta and Didzy? Or
Maybe.
But then he's not going to get him behind, is he?
The thing is with Didzy, though, if you do put him up there, if we do go long, he's probably the only player we really have that has the potential to hold it up.
Yeah, you're right. And then I'm just thinking, I'm going to go. I don't know who. I'm going to go Crowley, Didzy, Jatta, but I don't know who's playing where. So I'm just going to say that. All I know is Jatta will lead the line. I don't know where Didzy's playing, and I don't know.
Yeah.
We have to get a win. We somehow have to pick up a win. I don't even know how a scruffy 1-0 win scored by an own goal would even appease some fans.
No, it wouldn't. It would feel like papering over cracks, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I don't like that. either. We go and we get a solid 2-0 win, but like Ben said, where are we scoring 2 from? We scored 2 in the last 4, and they were in the same game that we lost. One was a penalty again, and one was a goal from outside the box where we finally took a chance. I don't know. Tricky. Couple of shots for Ness there. Austin still in there with Dizzy dropped. So interesting. Very, very interesting. George, there was a poll question in the show. You missed it.
There was a poll question. So was there a poll question today? 50% say no, 48% say no again. What did you vote?
I voted no again.
I did as well.
Yeah, it was obvious.
It was obvious. So
that's only no, minutes.
Take a long hard look at yourself.
Yeah, poor that is. It was never in there, so it was no again.
Only 44 votes as well.
Yeah, 44. Score prediction. I'm going to go 1-0, scruffy victory, own goal.
I'm going to go 0-0.
That would be so.
That would be the most Christmassy result we could get, I think.
0-0, can't score away to MK. Right, I'm not thinking these are going to be high scoring. So we've got 1-0, 0-0. Martin says 2-0, no problem. 1-0, 3-1. I'd love some goals. Oh, don't. Baldwin late winner 2-1. I think that'll be the end. You say there's no way they're getting rid. That's the end. That's the end for Maynard. I tell you that. If Baldwin scores top up in front of the Kop, that's it. 2-1. Just let you know, Baldwin's the kind of player to celebrate in front of the Kop. 100%. 100%.
I think you're right.
2-2, Platt and Baldwin, the Platt and Baldwin derby. Have to see a reaction here from Pete, 1-0 Knots. We've got Desmond 2-2 dodgy pen against us. We've got 1-1. Usually realistic, Callum, but we're not scoring 4. Even with Chicks and back, we're not. Baldwin 40-yard header, 95th minute, 4-4. Harry says 4-0 Bradford. Must be a Bradford fan. This one's realistic. Not 76%. And Adam will hand on a nice one there. 1-0 loss if we play win backs. 3-0 if we go 4-5-1. There's a distinct mood change amongst the people watching Anders. So,
yes.
There we go. We will be back after Christmas. We don't have a date for you yet. Depends how our Christmas goes, doesn't it, George, really?
It does.
Yeah. Depends if we enjoy the festive football,
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll let you know when we're back anyway. It won't be too long. But next Thursday, obviously, is the Boxing Day game. Keep an eye out for it. It's all black and white episode from Bradford at home and from MK away. And we will try and sandwich an episode in between MK and the trip to Cheltenham. Let's see what happens. Safe travels if you are going to either of the games, MK as well on that Boxing Day. Have a great Christmas. Thank you, everyone, for watching so far this year. As I said, we'll try and have an episode before the new year. If you would like one of the very, very few mugs left, then look in the description. If they're not there, it means they have unfortunately sold out. And as always, please do leave a like. Let's aim for 70 likes, and please do subscribe to the channel.